everybody. So we have class 25, if I can count. Better ask, isn't it?
6.
I think it's 25. Can't be 26. Next week is 26. But we'll put it in the in the thing that I think it might be 25. So I hope you've enjoyed this more winterish weather this weekend. Maybe you've even done some yoga. Just to think about what you need. You may need some blocks, and if you haven't got blocks, some books. You're going to do forward bend where you put a book underneath your ankles or sit on it. And we're also going to do some pressing. If you've got short arms, you might need it. Otherwise, I'm not aware. Just maybe your pillow, blanket. So we go straight into it. Center, feel you're comfortably upright. Sit on a foam or on a pillow. That's easier. I always find it easier. Close your eyes. Find that comfortably upright position, so you're not too hollow in your back, not too rounded. Once you feel that your sitting bones are grounded, you extend. Take the breath into the belly. Feel it all around you, inside of you. Slow down. Always creating that slight resistance at the back of your throat, keeping your shoulders back and down. Allowing your body to relax and center. And really feel the breath. Give it your full attention. And to start with a quietening breath. Sometimes I start with an energizing breath. We're going to do a bit of a quietening to start with, to bring the mind and the body together. So I want you to count how long it takes you to breathe in. And then equalize your in and exhalation. So 4 counts in, make it 4 counts out. And you can slow down or fast, or make it 5. Maybe close your eyes so you're more aware of the inside of your body. Keep it a comfortable range. Now we're going to try and keep the inhalation the same number and begin to lengthen the exhalation. So if you have 4, you can maybe try and make the exhalation 6 without straining. You can still lengthen more, maybe you can double it. If you're comfortable, some people have more of a range than others, then do 4 to 8, otherwise stay with your present range. Do that one more time. Then release the counting from your mind's eye and just for a moment stay in that inner silence. That silent mind. Feeling the present moment as it is inside of your body. That's the essence of yoga, to create that inner present moment awareness. Not remaining attached to it, but just flowing with it. Then maybe change your feet. You've been sitting like that for a while. Stay upright and drop your chin. Roll your right ear to your right shoulder, bring your head slightly back. Engage the abdominals when you go slightly back. And do it mindfully a few times. So you begin to loosen the neck, keeping your shoulders back and down. And really feel it. Perhaps increase your range of the circle. Flowing twice more in this direction. And then do it the other way around. Twice more. Center, keep your elbows in and just do a twist to the right, extend, press your sitting bones down. Just a subtle lengthening without locking. And the same to the left. Come back to center. Just loosen the shoulders. Make the circles as large as you can, flowing. One more time in this direction. Keeping your alignment, so tummy slightly in, do it the other way around. Then your last one. And perhaps just do a sitting inverted stretch. Armpits down, reach up. Try and lengthen. And then release. And we're not using weights yet because a lot of you at home have no weights. And it's better with the virus not to bring the props in. So this is kind of substitute. It's more because we're going to press your hands here. My arms are quite short and I can reach the floor. If you can't, then put 2 books here or 2 firms if you have them. Now what we're going to do is round the lower back a little bit. Particularly if you've got a straight back like me, but you take your sitting bones or your pelvic floor slightly forward, so you round your lower back, slightly rounding the whole back actually. And then see if you can press into your hands and then push. I'll take my sitting bones off the floor and I press into my outside of my feet. Now what happens is that the pelvic floor automatically engages, so the bandhas engage, but also the lower abdominals, your buttock area engages. And release. So it really automatically will tighten that lower part of your trunk, including the bandhas, without you doing anything, it just happens. So again, if you've got long arms, many of you will have much longer arms than I have, press slightly back around your lower back, so your tailbone goes slightly forwards. Press, if you can, resist your feet. It's not even essential. You don't have to lift off the floor. I take my shoulder blades down, armpits down, because I am off the floor. Breathe, 3 more breaths. Feel, of course you strengthen your shoulders and your arms quite a bit, but you feel those abdominals, the lower part of your abdominals, engaging. And then release. You'll change your feet. Come forward and down, sitting bones back, and if you can, bring your head to the floor without rounding your back. So this time your chest forward, your sitting bones back, your shoulders wider, and release. So already you begin to widen the lower back, widen the shoulders, and lengthen your back. For me, that one of the more important things about yoga is to extend, to open, and to create space in the body. Because we sit so much, we contract, we sit at Netflix, we sit for our work at the computer. So, contracting happening all of the time. So now the other way around, you do the same. Keep your fingers slightly spread. You need to slightly engage the abdominals already, round your back, tailbone forward. And then press without hunching your shoulders, keep them down, armpit, shoulder blades down, and see if you can hold, but don't stop breathing. And feel how the pelvic floor, the lower part of your abdominals, buttocks begin to engage naturally. Keep the breath going. Strengthen your arms, like I say, it's a substitute for the weights. Take a breath in between. And we'll do it one more time. So round your lower back. Press into your palms and your fingertips. Come up or begin to lift. Breathe, all body awareness. Press to your hands. Feel the abdominals. So that has made you a bit warm as well. And then release. Allow your back to widen, your sitting bones to come back. And bring your head towards the floor. It has to be halfway, it's halfway. Okay. Shake your legs in front of you and circle your feet. We're going to do obliques on the side muscles. So it's also kind of a core warm-up. It's a Pilates one. Come onto your back and you keep your feet a little bit lower than your knees. Lift and drop your shoulders and bring your left ankle against your right knee. I always have a loose weave. It's easier to have the elbows lower on the floor rather than your head tight. Now as you breathe in, you're down, armpits are down, your head is centered, you support your head as you breathe out, and you lift with the trunk. So it's not this, it's lifting with the trunk and veering to the left. So it's the obliques, it's those muscles that engage. So it tends to be small, because you're not, it's quite hard to do it that way. So engage as you breathe out and veer to the left. Don't move your elbows, they follow. Breathing in, you're down, engage. Breathing out, keep looking up. Make it small and feel how you engage the back, the legs, abdominals. It's a bit like the stargazing. Pushing your left knee slightly away. Totally release on the inhalation, contract and veer to the left on the exhalation. Another 3 times. You need quite a lot of strength and contraction. Trying to do it the other way around. Your feet are quite wide, a little bit lower than your knees. Push your right knee away. Release your shoulders. Armpits down. As you breathe in, you're down. As you breathe out. Lift the left side. Allow the elbows and the arms to follow, not to lead. Without dropping your chin. In and out. Feel that it's the trunk that does the work. 3 more times. Small motion, but you feel it a lot. For a moment, just circle your knees and relax. Release your abdominals. I'm going to do the reverse curls, which you know well, which gets to the deeper transverse abdominals. So your elbows can be bent, palms facing up. You can bring it close to your shoulders and your armpits are down. And then cross the ankles. Keep your knees over your ribs rather than over your sitting bones, if you can help it. Keep your head centered. Now as you breathe in, try and take your feet to the floor and then slow down. Now the elbows want to lift, so keep them down. Your head wants to lift. You can slow down as you come back to your starting position. Some people will hardly lift, others can go much slower than me. So see if you can slow down when you come back. And feel those deeper transfers, abdominals engaging quite a lot. Now you are centered. Inhalation, come up. Press the elbows down. And do it the other way around. Feel when you roll through the lower back and the spine. The shoulders want to lift, keep them down. It's really two places you don't always feel. Last one. That's really a strengthening one. And do an inverted stretch when you finish. Bring your arms down and for a moment lift and release your shoulders. Bring the soles of your feet together and bring your knees a bit higher than halfway up. You'll just do one Tibetan arch. So you can get a bit of a counter stretch. Press the soles of your feet together, release your arms and your shoulders, keep your head centered. Maybe tighten the buttocks when you come high enough so that the groin can open, the thigh can open, your shoulders can compress, your chest is open. And lift and direct your hips towards your knees and see if you can balance like that. Whole body awareness, feel the spine. Now full breath. And roll the spine back down. Come into a sitting butterfly for a moment. And don't force it. I find at the beginning of the class, I can't usually go as far as when I'm at the end of the class. So see how far I can go without getting into too much pain. Good. We're going to do some back bend now, warm up for the camel, which we'll do later, so it's a good one to warm up. I'd sort of forgotten about it for a while. You can sit on a heel like this, bring your hands behind you, and then try and bring your shins down, tummy in, and rotate the upper arms out and really lift. Releasing your head, tummy in, resist with your shins if it helps. Rotate the shoulders out and straighten the elbows. If you're high enough, tighten the bodies. Shallow breath. Whole body awareness. Extend. Then always release in between. You can have your hands wider or closer together. whole body awareness and let go in between. And if you can, curl your toes under, which will not be possible for everybody. You can try it. Maybe fingertips if you need to. And then release totally for a moment into an Easter praying or child pose. Allow your lower back to settle. Pressure of your neck. A nice deep breath or two. Letting go of any holding. It's important always to let go in between. When you do the dynamic head movement, do it too fast. Just really feeling the spine as you breathe in. Rotate the left thigh slightly, bring your head up. As you breathe out, bring your nose to your knees. Stay centered. Feel the whole of your spine, including your neck. Abdominals engaged and your head comes up and your neck comes up. Twice more. Really feel the spine. Control. And then change. Maybe your hands a bit wider than your knees. Rotate the right hand slightly in. Strengthen your arms twice more. And then we're going to do a forearm stretch. So come onto your palms, and then you're also supposed to come onto your sitting bones, so you might have to shift a bit and take your palms a bit off the floor. And then try and bring your palms closer to the floor and keep your sitting bones back. Rotating the upper arm slightly. It's quite a huge forearm stretch, nerve stretch. Just hold it where you can manage. Allow it to develop, it will develop a bit. Three more breaths. Maybe get sort of a bit rid of that. Okay, we're going to do a kind of a classical twist. Sit on both your sitting bones and keep that front foot centered. It will always wants to do that. Now you can do like that, and I found sometimes it starts rocking the hip. So I find this sometimes more effective. Leave your right hand at fingertips behind you. Keep your right sitting bone grounded. Now from the base of the spine, as you've heard me say hundreds of times, take your abdominal, your right abdominal further to the right, and the navel, and then keep rotating from the bottom up, keeping your right sitting bone grounded, so you become one of those Cleopatras, pharaohs. You really widen your upper trunk and your shoulders in relation to your hip. And only go as far as you can without rounding your shoulder. Keep the shoulder back. You can look sideways or behind you. Keep the front foot centered and feel that you elongate the spine as well as twist it. Maintain it for another 4 breaths. I'm going to do it the other way around. So both your sitting bones are grounded, so you can elongate, and left abdominal further to the left, your navel. Keep the sitting bones grounded and see if you can rotate and lengthen. Shoulders back. Maybe resisting, so you're not resisting it just to the knee, but against the whole outside of your left leg, which is more secure. Breathe, feel that widening of your chest back. Feel the twist, breathe. Breathing into the belly. And then come into a forward bend of your choice. So if you prefer to bend your knees. Sit flat. And slowly ease into chest forward, sitting bone back. Always closer to the floor underneath your head. Always rotating the thighs slightly inwards if you can. So you can use your exhalation to ease. So if you're here, you're here. If you're further down, but try not to force it. Another 4 breath. You're going to stand up. I'm going to start with a warm-up, simple warm-up. So bring your one hand in your waist and the other arm across into a side stretch as you breathe out. Breathe in, come up. The way around. Take it right across as if you're sliding against the wall. Keep going. Inhalation, come up. Exhalation to the side. Hand in the waist. Repeat on the other side. Once again. Feet centered, mount of the big toe and the little toe down. I'm going to hold it for longer, so you can go a bit further. Breathe, whole body awareness. Other side. Extend, keep your armpits down. Fingers slightly spread. Breathe. Opening the one side. And then sort of back bend, palms facing in or fists. Bring your elbows back, tummy in. Then lift your navel, your ribs. And bring your head back, elbows back, tummy in. Center your feet. Come back to center. And so you can do it again. Come back on an inhalation. Perhaps a bit further, but always bring your navel, your chest up. Before you bring your head back, elbows toward each other. Come back. You can do it again. Perhaps take your head further back. Abdominals engaged. And we're going to come into a halfway stop, a jackknife they call it, elbows toward each other. From the crown into the tailbone, lengthen. Try and keep your knees straight if possible. back to upright. On exhalation, come back into that same jackknife with your elbows toward each other. And now you can extend the arms beyond your ears, index finger pointing forward, and make a sort of right angle between your lower trunk and your upper trunk. Extend. And come into a forward bend from there and release your hip, pull your shoulders back. If you can, lift the thighs, if not, bend your knees. And to come into a lunge with your right foot forward, hands on the floor, and come into a dog with your head down. Your other leg forward into the lunge. Fingertips or hands on the floor. Drop your hip forward. Back into a dog with your head down. Work at it. Armpits and hips toward each other. Press your inner hand down. Rotate the upper arms out. Head to the floor. Really lengthen your back. Thighs back. Heels down. And bring your left leg up. See how high you can bring it. Rotate the upper thigh slightly in. Head to the floor and straighten your elbows. Come back and re-establish your acute angle. Armpits and hips toward each other. Bring your right leg up. Straighten your knee. Rotate the thigh in. Reach up. Breathe. Head to the floor. Back into your dog with your head down. And come into a plank. Back into a dog with your head down, acute angle, head to the floor. Rotate your upper arms out. Back into plank. The crown into your heels. Back into the dog with your head down. Back into plank. Dog with your head down. A bit higher, and bring your right foot forward. And come into a lunge. With your back heel on the floor. Front knee facing forward. Back into dog with your head down. Feel the contrast. Other leg forward. Come up. Keep the back heel on the floor. Look up. Knee facing forward. And then come back into a dog with your head down. To plank and then come into a cat. You need to do the hollow cat and the arched cat. Feel the whole of your spine. Hands a bit wider than your knees. Open, hollow, and then arch. Spine should be loose, flowing. Once again. Lift out of the shoulders. And then see if you can look behind you, so you make a bit of a neck rounding of your back into one direction. Hip stretch. Repeat from side to side. Keep your elbows straight. Look towards the foot behind you. Last one. Back into a dog with your head down. Maybe bend your one knee and then the other a few times. Keep the chest moving to your knee. Press your inner hand down. Head released. And come into a forward bend. Release your head. Pull the shoulders back. Now your head to drop. Come back into the halfway stop. Push your hands behind you, then palms together, extend. Bring your hands to your chest and then reach up. Look up. And then come back with your hands in front of your chest, Tadasana variation. And release. So that was a bit of a warm up. I'm going to do a circular stretch next. I'm going to do the circular stretch, so extend your feet quite wide, so you get to the inner thighs and face the right side. Come down and face the left side. And really create a twist with your upper trunk, reaching into your feet. Keep your feet centered, the mount of the big toe and little toe firmly down. Slide your back when you come up. Describing that huge oval or circle. swinging literally. And then go back when you're up and swing and circle the other way around, smoothly if you can, strong your feet, getting to the inner thigh, twisting the upper trunk. Allow your head to hang when you're down. And do a nice strong inverted stretch when you're finished. We're going to move on to some balancing with eyes open and eyes closed. It looks simple, but it actually isn't so simple. So center with your feet a natural distance apart. And once you are centered, you're going to lift the left leg and the left arm together. The inhalation, bring it down on the exhalation. So center your right foot, slowly come up, doesn't have to be high. And come down and find your equilibrium, find your center. And that helps to fix your gaze. Try and integrate the movement with your breath. You do it 6 times each side, controlling it as well as you can. Center again before we do the same as your right leg and your right arm together. Okay, now we're going to do opposite arm and leg, which might be easier. That left leg and right arm is the breath. Just challenging your center, your balance, equilibrium, other way around. Keep your shoulders down and relax. It's always strengthening when you do balancing. Now you're going to do it with your eyes closed. The same sequence, but I would make it smaller. So start balancing your right leg, your left arm and your left leg together. Try and find that inner centered balance, which is different. It may look like a drunken sailor, but that's fine. Balancing on the right leg, bring your left arm and left leg up together. If you can, keep your eyes closed. Of course, if you can't, because of several reasons, then don't. Now opposite arm and leg, which might be easier. Left leg and right arm. Keep it small, eyes closed. Whole body awareness. Staying upright. And bring the right leg and the left arm up now. Release into forward bend and you've accomplished that. You can of course open your eyes now. Well done. You have to do one of those lunges with your fingers. You've done it quite many classes ago. Just do an inverted stretch. And it's a kind of lunge variation. So your right foot forward, your left foot at 45 degrees. Your right hand in front of you with your index finger pointing up, and your back hand is like carrying something, glass or something in your imagination. As you breathe in, you're there, and as you breathe out, see if you can bring the back heel facing backwards, and as you breathe in, bring your two index fingers next to each other, look at it, as you bend. As you breathe out, come back to your starting position, breathe in. And as you breathe out, lift the back heel off the floor so that you face forward, dip. And then as you breathe in, bring your back hand next to the front. Pause for 3 counts. And then come back to your starting position. Breathe in, breathe out, swivel the back heel further back and dip. And then as you breathe in, bring your hand forward and look at it for 3 extra counts. Do that a few more times. Back heel back, as you breathe out, come down, and then hold when you're in that forward bend for 3 extra counts. Keep the front knee aligned, stay centered, the back heel and the back knee is off the floor. Must be the last one. It's quite strong. Left foot forward. Start with straight knees. Breathe in as you breathe out. Swivel the back heel facing backwards and bring your knee further down. And then as you breathe in, bring your index fingers pointing up together and look at them for 3 counts. In and out, come back, breathe in and hold, breathe out, swivel the back heel away and dip into the lunge. Inhalation, bring your index fingers next to each other and look at them. Center. As you breathe out, come back. Find your own rhythm. It's a fair-sized step. About focus, centering. Whole body awareness. Have to stay with the breath in this one. Come into wide-legged forward bend if you prefer not a wide leg, bring your feet together. And for a moment release your back into a symmetrical position, release your head and relax your tummy. You'll draw your feet close together and come into an inverted stretch. Or shake your legs. going to do some warriors and a dancer and a squat, which you've often done. Come into the wide-armed warrior. Pull your heels toward each other as you extend into the fingertips, so to counter-stretch top of your body. And then face forward, look up, keep your arms parallel, still pulling your heels into each other, front knee aligned, and then see if you can catch your back foot, as you balance on your front leg, and then see if you can slowly come down or stay up into a full dancer. Come back into the squat with your knees quite bent, sitting bones to your heels, your arms in front of you. Step back with your right foot. Come into the wide-armed warrior. Pull your heels in and down as you broaden and reach out from your sternum into your fingertips. From there, come into the up-down warrior, facing forward with your upper trunk. Press your heels in. If you're stable, look up. Palms facing in and parallel. So you can catch your back foot and come into a full dancer, maybe from the upright or from the center. Down, pushing your back foot into your hand. And then back into the squat. Again, stepping back with your left foot. Come into the full wide-armed warrior. Radiate from the sternum. Press your heels in. Shoulders are down, commanding. And looking up. So it's the up-down dimension that you feel. See if you can reach into your heels as you press in. And then catch your back foot. And see if you can slowly move into that lighter dance a bit. Engage abdominals. Maybe the standing leg slightly bent will help. Push your foot into your hand. Back into that squat, which is sitting bones to your heels. Left foot forward to the wide-armed warrior. Radiate into the fingers, center. Press your heels into each other. Strong your legs. Up-down warrior. Look up, face forward with your shoulders. Keep the heels active. And slowly make the transition into the full dancer. Catching your right leg, opening out, balancing on your left leg, perhaps bending the knee slightly. Tummy in, hold that strength, but it's also lighter now in your trunk. Back into the squat. So you can keep going that way, always pressing your heels into each other, firmly into the warriors. Alert, centered in warriors, and then lighter in the dancer, but you need to be strong in your supporting leg. Pressing the back foot into your hand, not bringing the knee out, but further back. Half bow. Squat back to symmetry. Make sure that the front knees aligned, heels active. It's like you move into infinity with your arms, so it's not locked. Careful when you catch the foot, so you don't lose your equilibrium. And keep your control as you move into a fuller dancer. Squat. A bit faster now from the one into the other, a bit more of a flow if you can. Forward bend just to release your back after the dances. Release your head, shoulders back, and if you need to bend your knees. Always releasing any tightness and necessary tightness afterwards. Reach up, stretch. And you're going to do a twist slightly different than what you're used to, not the smaller ball. You're going to just lift that thoracic region more. You'll see how I use my arms above my head, resist the hands, keep the front knee bent, and then turn and twist. So it's more like a Shiva the dancer movements, or a different one. Swinging the arms, flexing the hand, palms facing up, creating a twist. Keeping the funny bent, legs strong. As you bring your arm right above your head, you really open that thoracic region, alternating the arms coming up. It's got a nice flow, lifting that whole upper trunk. Keeping your lower trunk strong, stable. Just slightly press into your feet. You can bring the heels together again and down, and that's what I did. And then hold the twist on the side where your knees bend. And you're going to do it the other way around. Nice big step. Press your heels in, front knee facing forward. Try the same. Palms facing out so you can resist in it. Your fingers spread. Explore it. A bit like a dance, actually. Opening that whole upper trunk. Swinging from the one side to the other. With very strong legs supporting you. To feel that contrast of the mobility of your upper trunk and the supporting legs. Pressing into your slightly flexed palms. Face outwards. And hold that twist on the left, pulling the heels in. And come again to forward bend, out your feet together wide. Allowing your back to come to symmetric position and come into an Eastern praying position and release your back that way. You do another simpler twist. So once you've recovered, try and press your sitting bones back and extend your arms as far forward as you can. So you really get a stretch behind your shoulder blades, reaching in both directions. And bring your elbows closer to the floor. And you're going to slightly twist to the left and try and extend into your fingers and then press your forearms and your palms firmly down, and it will widen your back in a strange way. You feel kind of a nerve twist stretch. Keep reaching into your hands, press them down, your palms, and try and bring your elbows close to the floor. Come back, extend again, stretch into your fingertips. Do the same to the opposite side, slightly twisting your upper trunk. Press into your hand, and the forearm and your elbow closer to the floor, and breathe and hold. Feeling that widening. Try it once again. Extending, and twisting to the left, with your upper trunk slightly, and press your palm and your forearm down, maybe even your elbow. Comes from a sports stretch book. Once again, extend before you do the same, twisting your upper trunk slightly to the right. Forward on the floor, press your palms down, your forearms down. Breathe. Sitting bones back. And then come into a child pose so your shoulders can release. Palms facing up, arms back. Relax. Okay, we need to do the thigh stretch because a lot of people have not done it. They might have been cheating or they just haven't done it. You may need to get a blanket for your feet, stand away, find a door or a wall or a cupboard, and see how far you can come up. And if possible, bring your knee right against the skirting board of your wall and your foot on the outside of the hip. You might not be able to see so much, but it is there. If you're comfortable, as some of you are, then bring your arms above your head like I did just now and press the lower back against the wall. And breathe, it's strong. I felt it a lot, but it does respond so well. And with all the sitting, being at home, it gets very tight. So advise you to try and do it. I'm glad I don't hear the moaning. Breathe into the pain. And if you can be upright, press your lower back and your shoulders back. Of course, there's another side. One side is usually more difficult than the other. I didn't find as much difference. And then again, so you can come up, if you can come up, and if you can come back, take your back to the wall, lower back to the wall, and your hand to the opposite elbow if you're very supple. Knee facing forward. Rest and breathe. Breathe into that quad. May help. Endure it by focusing on your breathing. Feel the effect. So you can stay it out. Well then, we're going to do it once more because the second time will be easier. I can promise that for sure. Not a lot, just a slight release already. Gently go back, breathe, keep your front knee aligned, whole body awareness. And remember that the foot is on the outside of the hip if you're so far back. And the other side. So center, your back should be centered, your knee facing forward, the foot on the outside of the hip, and make it your last one. Breathing into the quad. And see if you can observe the shift, feel it. Pressing the lower back if you can into the wall. Well done, come out of it, seems long, 22 breaths I must say. And we're going to come into the camel, which is a good stretch after this one because now your quads have warmed up already. So if you need something underneath your knees, do so. I'm going to start just a half camel. Zip up the abdominals, keep your toes curled, knees a little bit apart. And take your one hand, maybe start with your right hand to your right heel. Navel up, chest up. And then bring your head and your upper trunk back. To keep your chest over your knees and sitting bones. Beginning to warm up. See if you can do it the other way around. Not pushing your hips back, but keep them over your knees. You can put your fists against your sacrum and come back that way. You can take your hands to your heels. Try again to keep your hip over your knee, your chest up, and then slowly release your head. Maybe activate your buttocks if it helps. Press your knees down. Keep your shoulders broad, chest open, head released. If your head isn't comfortable, keep looking forward. Just breathe into that and come into a counter stretch where you release your back. It's quite strong in the first one or two. You don't often do that in natural life. Forward bends we do all the time. So if you find it difficult, then maybe separate your knees a bit more. This time I'm doing my feet flat, so if you're comfortable with feet flat, it's just a different stretch. I always found it slightly easier on the lower back. Tummy in, chest out. You could resist with your shins into the floor when you have your feet flat. It can help. As a counter stretch. Now, a shallow breath. It's amazing how little you need to breathe into that. All the alveoli in your lungs are open. And then release into a counter position. Allow your back to settle in between. Do it again. I'm just demonstrating the Iyengar way, which can help quite a few people. But then they know if their alignment is correct, with the thighs and the pubic bone against the wall, tummy in, pressing the thighs and the hips into the wall and bring your head back. So it gives you something to press against. Always release in between. And see if you can do it one more time. Do it shorter if you find that I'm holding it too long. Or do the half one. Feel how the spine lengthens, it opens. Comfortable, almost very shallow breath. And then release once again. And from there we're going to do the forward bend, the tortoiseshell, and then the gobbler as a counter stretch. And you could push your spine out from the bottom out, so you really round your lower back, release your head, shoulders. Drop your knees, you get the counter stretch that your body is more used to. Or do the cobbler. Interlacing your hands around your feet and pushing your feet further forward, sitting bone back, around your back, release your head and push your knees wider apart. It's quite a comfortable back stretch. Rounding your lower back quite a bit. We're going to do a headstand variation. It's always a whole range. I would choose two. So one of the simpler one is the hair. You come onto the crown. Focus on the crown as you hold the opposite hand with your index finger, thumb. So your shoulders are released. You can hold it for longer. I'm also demonstrating the
dolphin, which we did last week, where you keep your arms, if possible, parallel, and you can press forward and backwards as you move in opposite direction, in other words. And then also demonstrating the bird. Make sure that your forearms are perpendicular to the floor, which mine are, and then bring your knees on there. Again, your heart is higher than your brain. And come into a counter stretch if you need to, and then I think I'm going to demonstrate the actual headstand. Those of you who know how to do the chairs, you could do the 2 chairs, just the pillows. Let's keep your elbows quite close. As you find your equilibrium, fix your gaze, press into your elbows and forearms. Try not to get a banana shape. Slightly flexing your feet perhaps. Breathe. It's very nice for the organs because they have now different pressure, and then they stand when you sit, draining the veins, strengthening the upper trunk. And the brain is upside down. You have enough come out of it. I'm going to do the right angle, so I put my heels on the skirting board and try and press your feet, more or less making a right angle. Heels and sitting bones in the same line. And release your head. You need to press firmly into your hands. Of course you could stay there longer. Make sure that always you come into a counter stretch. So I would only select 2 if I were you, and then come into the child pose or Eastern plane position. Relax totally, so your neck is at ease again. Just now for a moment to finish whatever you're doing. We're going to do a forward bend using either a pillow or if you can have a block or some books. You're going to do a forward bend using a block, whatever you have. So sit on it so you're quite high. And then when you come into the forward bend, the regular one, it does stretch your body differently. Do both ways. So see if you can walk forward, bring your chest forward, keep your feet together, thighs slightly in, chest forward, sitting bones back, elbows towards the floor, and then finally drop your head, minimizing the rounding of your upper back. And release into it, so you get a slightly different hamstring stretching. The way it works in your back as well is different. Try and release into it rather than force. Whole body awareness, as it was quietening a forward bend. Keeping your shoulders wide. Use your exhalation to surrender. Rotate the thighs inwards. You can do it the other way around, where you sit flat and bring the book or your block, whatever you have, better underneath your feet so your heels stick beyond it, and do the same. It will give you different emphasis in the stretch in the back of your legs. And once you've got it, you can release your head, chest forward, sitting bones back. Breathe. Rotate the thighs slightly in, and exactly the same, but it will feel different. Okay, now we're going to do another variation. If you don't like it, because some of you won't, repeat this. It's the firm. It's the tortoiseshell, the other version. We've done the easier version after the camel. You need to keep your knees bent and then get your elbows beyond your knees and then press the thighs onto your upper arms, which will give you a nice stretch between your shoulder blades and different part of your back, and if you can, come onto your chin. Some people will have the heels off the floor, depending a bit on the thickness of their arms. So if you can imagine that you stretch different places of your middle back where your shoulder blades are. Slightly pressing your thighs on your upper arms above your elbows. Breathe. Allow the back to lengthen and widen. Also come with your forehead, with officially on your chin. And then to come in and out of it is always the trick. Now we're going to do a slight different variation where you bring your knees a bit higher, your feet closer together. And see if you can again bring your arms underneath those knees and then wriggle your feet together as if you're in a kind of a butterfly tortoiseshell. Then bring your head down and bring your arms, with your palms facing up toward each other with your hands on the small of your back, reaching the fingers toward each other. So you can press the feet together, drop your knees and release your head so you can slowly snuggle into it. Or do the other one, or even a butterfly if you don't like the look of it. Whole body awareness, stay with the breath, ease into it. Bring your hands higher, closer together. And again, it's tricky to come out of it, but you'll find a way. Shake your legs. And now you're going to like this one. If you have a wall, or a door, or wider cupboard, maybe double door cupboard, you're going to come into what we used to call the Sylvia moment, but instead of the Sylvia moment, we actually take our feet really wide. I wriggled my sitting bones right against the skirting board, arms up with the elbows slightly bent, and allow those inner knees and thighs to open. It's that inner thigh that can be tight. We've done the quad, but we need to get to the inner thigh. So over time you can drop the feet a bit more, and you'll find that the back begins to release. If you find it awkward to have your arms up, bring them wide. I always find that we underdo the letting go in yoga. There's a lot of tightness in the body. And it sometimes takes longer, like the yin yoga people do. Positions to let go, or restorative postures in Iyengar yoga. They often aim at letting go of tightness which we're holding. And I find in this one, the more you stay in it, the more you begin to feel that your shoulder blades drop deeper, my waist disappeared in the end, and my sitting bones grounded more. At the same time, the inner thighs and the inner knee region begins to widen more and release and stretch. If you find it awkward for your shoulders, keep your arms a bit lower. So just breathe, natural, comfortable breath, and observe the sort of subtle shifts, maybe not always so subtle, inside of the body as you breathe comfortably. Allow gravity to do it for you. Let go. Feel that the shoulder blades might ground a little bit more. The thighs round a bit more. Let them feel less tense. Your wrists are released. Feel that the back is more comfortable, the inner thighs are in to stretch, your waist might flatten. Tummy is soft, shoulders anchored. Comfortable breath, quieten your mind. undoing tension. Totally relaxed, dropping deeper into the ground. Whole body awareness, natural breath. Observing your body, observing the shifts and feeling them. Feel the difference already in your back. Now bring your feet together so that the sacrum can actually release further. The lower back can anchor deeper downwards. You should do the right angle position. If your shoulders getting tired with this arms up because they're different for different people, then bring your arms down. To feel the shift now in your lower back particularly as it sinks further down. Releasing the inner thighs. Stay with the breath. This is a kind of restorative posture where you release your back as much as you can and drain the veins. Okay, we're going to go into relaxation after that. So come down and put on your socks, whatever.
So now coming out of that wide-legged and then the legs together position, which should have released quite a lot of tension in your back, in your thighs and knees. Make sure you're comfortable as you go and lie down for relaxation. If you need to put on a top or socks, or get a blanket or a pillow, get that and then come onto your back and release totally. Your right and your left side released, and just take a few comfortable yoga breaths. Staying in that inner quietness, allowing that release of your body to continue. So you're not holding on. As you breathe out, you let go. As you breathe in, feel the vitality streaming in into each cell, expanding it, and as you breathe out, let go. Sinking into the earth, not resisting it. So you become heavy and relaxed. Just do that a few more times. Feeling the breath moving in and then releasing. Feeling your body connecting with the floor. Feel that connection to become one with the floor. Dropping into gravity and letting go. Do that for 3 more breaths mindfully. Allow your breath to settle and stay with that inner quietude, which is also spaciousness. When you become pure consciousness, you're non-local, you're larger than your body, lighter. Feel that spaciousness, that boundlessness of your true spiritual nature. As you rest in that lightness, radiance, aliveness. It's like you're dissolving into space. Like a light floating cloud quality. No thoughts, kind of mindless in the present moment. Always filling yourself with an elevated emotion like gratitude, love, peace, serenity, contentment, whichever works for you. Being present with what is as you settle your features. Perhaps yawn, perhaps swallow. Your tongue is released, expression softened, your eyes passive. Resting as you take your inner gaze down into your open heart space, into that spaciousness of your heart space. As you allow your mind to flow with the music and harmony. slowly begin to feel the floor underneath you. Aware of your bones, your weight, your pulse, your warmth. You should gently open your eyes and perhaps give yourself a stretch or roll onto your right side. And bring your knees to your chest. You ready? Come up into a sitting position. I hope you enjoyed this class. We'll sort of from next week onwards, look at October. There should be some announcement, I believe, this week from Cyril. So we'll see next week how we proceed for October. Thank you for your support. I hope you're doing some practicing, not like some of the students I have here who have done nothing for the interim, but are now happy to be back. Have a good week. Stay well. Namaste.